I like Deebo Samuel, but with his body and the way he's beating it up, and he plays like a running back, but he's a wide receiver. They've beaten the hell out of Deebo Samuel's body over the last couple of years. I just don't know how many years Deebo has left. He's not been 100% healthy for the last couple of years. He's been fighting injury after injury after injury. And the style of game that he plays doesn't really work in the NFL for that long. The fact that Deebo Samuel got that big time contract and he's lasted as long as he has been remarkable. The guy is built like a tank. When I saw him, I was like, man, that guy, I'm not a small guy. That guy's a pretty big guy, so I was looking at it, I was like, man, he's a lot bigger than I thought he was. But I'm not surprised that Brock Purdy's going to get a $60 million contract. Brock Purdy, I know you don't like him, Owen. I know you don't want to give him $60 million, but for the time that he's been there, he's been a successful quarterback. This past year hasn't been a good year. They've been fighting injury after injury. I listened to George Kittle behind us when they were interviewing him, saying they asked him a question about Brock Purdy, and he says, Brock Purdy's my quarterback. Brock Purdy is going to get a big-time contract, and Brock Purdy deserves it. So I do believe that Kittle and all those offensive guys that are there are going to vouch for him. They also lost a wide receiver. They gave him an extended contract in the offseason, and then he tears, what was his ACL? He was out for the season. Now you're going to get him back healthy. So, I mean, are the 49ers going to be up and running, with Brock Purdy and this team healthy? I think they will be. I mean, the NFC is so wide open. I don't trust anybody in the division. Do you trust Seattle? Do you trust the Rams if Matthew Stafford wants out? No. I mean, that division is so up and crazy. And even the Buccaneers division. I mean, who are you going to trust? Atlanta? I mean, come on. I don't trust Atlanta. The Buccaneers are probably winning that division. The Carolina Panthers stink. I mean, there's just nothing. The only thing that you look at right now is the NFC East, because you have Jaden Daniels there and you have the Eagles. And then you have, to me, the best division in football right now with the Packers, with the Minnesota Vikings, with the Chicago Bears, and those type of teams. I mean, and obviously the Lions. I mean, that's probably the best division in football. I mean, who's to say that the 49ers can't win the division and be the number one seed going into next year? Now, I'm not going to bet on it because I'm not a big Kyle Shanahan fan, as everybody knows. And I know you know, Owen, and so do you, Fish, and Speedy, you know too. I'm not a big fan of his. I know you guys love him. I don't. And I think that the clock is ticking for Kyle Shanahan. If this team cannot get over the hump, and I'm telling you, you're gonna pay Brock Purdy $60 million, which can set your team back, you're putting yourself in a bad situation. Deebo Samuel is going to go to a team that is a Super Bowl contender. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kansas City, if he seeks that. Kansas City needs another weapon. It's not Hopkins. It's not Xavier Worthy. I thought Xavier Worthy was going to show us a little bit more like a Tyreek Hill. Again, Tyreek Hill's another guy that's going to become available this offseason. Who's to say that, one of these other teams aren't going to make a move for Tyreek Hill? He does not want to be in Miami anymore. He's not getting along with Mike McDaniel. So, I mean, there's a lot of questions with a lot of these different teams. And if the Kansas City Chiefs think that with the team that they have in place right now could win a Super Bowl, they got another thing coming. They need to make a big slam dunk move in the offseason if they want to compete with the teams in the AFC, which are going to be better. The Chargers are going to be better. I absolutely believe it. The Broncos are going to be much, much better because they have a lot of money. And you know what the Baltimore Ravens are going to be. We all know Pittsburgh's going to be where they are. I don't know about the Browns, but the Bengals are the team to watch out for. I'm telling you, if they can get T. Higgins signed and they can get Chase signed, watch out. I mean, they can completely transform themselves from what they were this year, not even making the playoffs, to the team to beat in the AFC. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of questions over there in the AFC. Not many questions in the NFC. So it's going to be questions. There's a lot of questions to Deebo Samuel and where he's going to go.
Right. Or if Deebo Samuel wants to go seek a trade, let him. I think he's going to be a hard person to trade away, to be honest. A lot of teams are probably going to need his skill set right now. Correct. He's older. He's injury prone. I mean, maybe the Chiefs, but they have a lot of guys like him, Worthy, Hollywood Brown. They have that type of player. So who's going to really bite? I don't know what the 49ers are willing to take, if they'll take a 5th-round pick and just be like, get rid of Deebo because of all the on-the-field controversy he had this year, all the drops, Everybody kind of bailed on him. I think it's just time to part ways with him. It is what it is. Brock Purdy getting paid $60 million will be the downfall of the San Francisco 49ers. If he gets that money, they will be a low-level tier team for the next 5 to 6 years. They'll be worse than the Seahawks. They'll be worse than the Rams with McVay, because you know what McVay does? He gets an older, wiser quarterback to run the system that he wants to run, and he doesn't go after a young kid that has to have the best talent around him and the entire NFL in order to be good. When his weapons went down, he still had more than what Josh Allen had, and Josh Allen made it work with a receiving core that wasn't as good. Running back, were probably equal level, but Brock Purdy is not a long-term. He's going to be like a Tua. So if we want to miss the playoffs and get a mid-round draft pick every year, we should pay Brock Purdy.
But if you look at this offseason, and I agree with you, there's a lot of questions, but this is an opening offseason for a lot of these veteran wide receivers. I mean, you have T. Higgins, you have Samuel, you have Cooper Kupp. I mean, you have a lot of good wide receivers, even if they're secondary wide receivers. I'm telling you, mark my words, Kansas City is going to make a slam dunk with one of these guys. They're going to take one of these guys, and because they cannot win with the team and the roster they have right now. And if Tyreek Hill does become available, and I believe he will, I believe that Miami does not want him there anymore. He's just to me, he's more of a cancer there than you can control. I could see Kansas City saying, okay, we'll take him. What do you want for him? So we'll give you a 3rd round draft pick. We'll take Tyreek Hill's money and we'll just, we'll deal with his crap. And Andy Reid's going to love it, because then they get their slam dunk guy back over there to help Travis Kelce and his team make another run. I'm not going to be surprised if Kansas City gets what they want in the offseason. This is very Kansas City-esque. It makes me sick to my stomach because I know it's going to happen.